Hello, this is a preview of the new mapping solution being added to Infor Service Management later this year. Because this code has not yet been released, this is a disclaimer to say that some of the things you'll see in the presentation could change based on quality, usability testing, priorities, and timelines. The key requirements for this project were to maintain the same functionality that we had today with MapPoint, but in a newer supported technology such as Bing and Google. The flow will be very similar. You'll still export a route, be able to run the optimization within the mapping software, and then import it back in to reorder the partner's schedule accordingly. You also have the ability to add locations on the fly. So if you have one partner who needs a sub for another partner, you can right click and see that on the map and then reroute it. You also have the ability to see the GPS tracking history in a breadcrumb fashion on the map. The new functionality it was written in a ways that it should be supported on both the smart client and the web client. We've also enhanced the GPS for some real-time tracking. So with the map, you'll have a refresh interval and you can see your text locations change on the fly. We've also enhanced the routing to take advantage of some of the capabilities within Google and Bing to be able to do some business searches and traffic visibility if you need those extras while you're trying to route your employees. To show the new mapping functionality, we're going to work through a real life scenario where we take a partner's scheduled appointments for the day, export them to the new map form, optimize those appointments, and then import them in the new order based on that optimization. So we start from the schedule board. We're going to work inside the daily queue view. Got some data set up here for a couple partners. So if we're looking at Dave Daniels here, if we right click and select map, export selected partners route, it's going to export all 4 of those appointments to the new map form, plot those on the map in the order that they're in his queue. And if we maximize this, we can take a look at this form in general. On the right hand side you have the map, on the left hand side you have the locations. So these are the addresses for the appointments in the order that they were in his queue. The start and end, that's base. It could be set up to come off of the address of the warehouse or the partner's address if he works out of his home. That's a parameter that's set inside the system. You also have a search bar here. So if an example would be if Dave needed to stop by a Lowe's on his way to pick up some materials, you can do a search and it's going to pop up and show you Lowe's that are in the area. So if we want to click on one here, we can add this save push pin. We'll add this location. So that way it'll be included in the route. You can also drag, if you want to drag it up and put it here, because maybe you want him to stop before he goes to that 5th stop. So now this is the 5th stop. And down at the bottom, the get directions and get optimized directions. Get directions, if you want to say this is the order that I want him to work, you can click that, but you can see this isn't very efficient as there's a number of crossovers here. So you can come back over, and if you do get optimized directions, you can see here it reorders. Go back and look at the locations. It reordered these locations in a more optimized fashion, so he's not crossing over. You also have the ability to show traffic. So if you click that here, you can see, and maybe you want to move things around based on traffic situations. But once everything is optimized, well, one other note here, you can delete something here. So if we want to delete Lowe's, say we didn't want that anymore, let's remove the traffic so that way it's easier to see. We can do get optimized route. And here you have the directions. So you list down what you're normally used to when you see this on the web. So if you're okay with that route, um, let's go ahead and I'm going to minimize or put these next to each other so you can see now that the route has been changed around. Come back over here, you can see it was 274, 277, 275, 276, and it's been moved around a little bit to put 275 and 277 have been switched around. Well, if you like that optimized route, you can click import, process, and if we come back over to the schedule board, you can see here it reordered those with that new optimized route. Another thing you can do is, let's just say Brenda King called in sick. If we right click here and export Dave Daniels, and you want to go ahead and see if we can add Brenda's, we can add, if we do this add selected partners routes, it'll add her 2 appointments. You can see now that she was scheduled down here. Let's maximize this a little bit. So she was scheduled down here for these 2 appointments. They were added to the list. So now let's do another optimized route. Come back up here. And so that way you can see the 2 forms interacting together. If I import this now and hit process, come back up to this form here, you can see that those have been moved over to Dave Daniels. So that's an example of if somebody calls in sick, you can very quickly reroute his or her appointments to a different partner. Now we will show how GPS tracking has been incorporated with the new map functionality. Just like in the past, off the partner screen, you can see where we keep the last known location information. That hasn't changed with the use of the new maps. If we go to Barney Fowler here, you can see his last known location. But when you click the map current, instead of sending it out the map point like it did in the past, now it'll launch the new map form and show you his location here on the map, his last known location. In addition, you can still see his history. So if you want to see all the places he's been, you can see a list here, and you can do the filter in place if you want to bracket it down to a day or a week or a month. And then with a button here, you can send all that information out to the map, and it'll give you the breadcrumb. So it'll give you a list of all his stops on his way. So if you want to see more of a route type look, and then also it will try to take the GPS coordinate and pull up an address that's close by. It'll try to resolve it as best that it can. So if he's at a business and the business has an address with a GPS on there, it should show up. We also have a button for map last 24 hours if you just want to get yesterday's information quickly. Another scenario that can be used, if we pull up the incidents form, and say you have a customer that's called in and needs somebody out to their place quickly, you can right click, and we've added a show on map function. If you click this, it'll map your customer's location, show it on the map here, and if you want to go and see what techs are in the area that maybe you can get out there quickly, you have the option here where you can go, if you got a particular person, you can add that, or you can come down here and add a filter if you have, you want to bring everybody out, where are all the techs to see who's closest. You can see here it'll list your techs and see where by their last known location. And then you can go as far as say, okay, our tech number 3, David Daniels, is the closest. So let's go ahead and make him a location. And then we have the customers make that a location as well. So if we go over here and we can say get directions, and that way you can send Dave Daniels how to get to your customer's location. Additional functionality on a GPS tracking screen here. I mean, you still have the show traffic in the area. You also have this refresh interval. So if you just want to keep this screen up all day and track the location of all the partners, you can have that. And every 5 minutes, you'll see the boxes move as the partner moves. So that's the functionality we've added for GPS and the new mapping. Instead of going out the map point, it'll come to this new map form. Some additional information about the functionality you saw today. The new map solution is turned on by a key that you can obtain directly from Bing or Google. You can work with them on pricing based on your specific needs. If we look over at the service parameters inside of ISM, there's a spot here where you tell it your map provider, and then that's where you would enter your key. One note is that we still have the URLs, so that way if you don't enter the key, you still have some functionality available to you. For example, from the customers form, the map functionality, if you don't have a key, like in this example where the key is not filled in, it will pull up the old map where it uses the browser, takes you to Bing, puts it in there, and that way you can still see the location of your customer and get directions if you need them that way. So that functionality is still available without the key. In addition, the new map form will be made available in the Service Mobile solution. So that way your text in the field can still use the functionality if they like. If any additional information is needed on this functionality, please don't hesitate to contact Angie Rowley or Phil Bickle. Thank you.